Welcome back to another episode of the Main Street Money Show podcast. And I realized that I made a mistake on the last podcast. I said that we were going to talk about long-term care, Medicare, and annuities. And I ended up only covering the Medicare and the long-term care. So in this one, it's going to be a quick overview of the annuity conversation. But in the whole financial planning process, and if you've read my book, Divided Money, you'll find out that there are a lot of controversial areas, a lot of individuals that are butting heads with other financial individuals saying, oh, term insurance is better than whole life insurance, or annuities are garbage, or some type of financial product is a waste of money. And I don't disagree that there are some financial products that are a complete waste of money, but you as the consumer have to figure out what financial product is actually good for my situation, and is it something that may not be good for my neighbor, but my neighbor is giving out personal finance advice. So I try to think of these financial products as being completely neutral. And so what I mean by that is, if all these radio talk show hosts are saying, hey, you need to do this, or you need to do that, you don't need to buy this, or you don't need to buy that, that tells me I have to go out and explore all of the options and look at it from both sides of the argument. So in the retirement conversation, there's a lot of individuals that are pro annuities, and some of them are pro annuities because of the commission that pays behind it. And then there are a lot of individuals that are anti-annuity, and most of those individuals are going to be managing assets in the form of portfolios or things along that nature. And so you have two different financial professionals that you may be working with, that one of them is saying, hey, you need to buy this annuity. The next one might be saying, no, you don't need to buy that annuity. He's just trying to sell you an annuity. You need to keep this money inside this portfolio with me. And so that's where it gets a little bit tricky. And I'm all for self-education here in this topic area specifically, but you have to figure out, what are the individuals recommending? Is it a income that's going to provide you lifetime withdrawals so you don't run out of money for you or your spouse? Is it an annuity that is going to provide you immediate income, so like a single premium immediate annuity? Is it a variable annuity that is being sold by an individual on the broker-dealer side of the financial advisor world? There's so many different areas here that either you need to spend some time reading some books about annuities, and I mean like deep dive on annuity types. There's so many different types. You got single premium immediate annuities, you've got fixed index annuities, you've got deferred annuities. There's so many different annuity types that you have to figure out which one is being pitched. So if you're talking to an annuity professional, you need to make sure that they are specifically telling you what the goal of the annuity is, what type of the annuity is, what is the compensation that is tied to the annuity, or are you, the consumer, paying the penalty for taking the money out early in the form of a surrender period? There's so many different questions that come with annuities that it is definitely a caution area. And so I talk a lot about that in my book, what you need to look out for some of these different individuals that are pushing annuities versus when is the right time to take an annuity. And so I'm using the word annuity, but ultimately there's so many different types of annuity that you can't just lump all annuities into the same bucket. So what might be a good situation for your neighbor down the street that purchased an annuity might be a completely different detrimental decision if you make that same purchase. So self-education is going to be key here, but ultimately an annuity most of the time is going to be pitched in retirement phases for income, and it's going to look something like, hey, this annuity will pay out 6%, 7%, and that's something that you have to figure out, is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough to cover your needs now? Is it going to be enough to cover your needs at age 90? And that is ultimately something that either the financial planner has to come to the table with and say, hey, this annuity is going to be bridging the gap for income for you for 5 years while your portfolio continues to grow. My favorite financial advisor is going to be one that can access both sides of the table in the form of risk management through annuities, or some type of bond alternative in the form of annuities, or also looking at the portfolio and saying, hey, I can pull off 4% from this portfolio and not run out of money. So maybe you don't need an annuity at all. But ultimately, most of the retirees in the world, in America, they already have an annuity. It's called Social Security. And so if that Social Security annuity goes bust, then ultimately, a lot of individuals are going to be in a predicament. But I think that figuring out, do you need one for your individual situation, is best left to the advisor coming to the table from a neutral perspective, and then letting you, the consumer, go out and do your due diligence, figure out the questions, figure out what it is that I need. But ultimately, if you don't do your due diligence here, you're ultimately leaving yourself exposed to making a bad decision in regards to purchasing an annuity, and that could potentially set you back hundreds of thousands of dollars if the wrong decision is made. But you're not going to make the wrong decision because you're going to do your due diligence. You're going to be self-educated. You're going to ask questions about different places to learn about annuities. And so if you do have questions, there's a lot of information that I put in my book, Divided Money, that talks about annuities. We talk about a lot of these different traps in the retirement phase. I've got my workbook here, the Retiree Strategy Guide, that's going to be specifically for step by step, working through the processes of figuring out if you need an annuity or different Social Security timing types. Got a lot of videos in the Retiree Launch course, and so if you've purchased that, then a lot of the stuff is going to be sort of doubled information. You've already learned it in the course. But that's it for this video. I know it's a lot of information, but we're just sort of working through these different phases in retirement, the different struggle areas, the different caution areas, and that's going to be it. We'll see you in the next episode.